Welcome to EPG Pathsala. This is Dr. S. Alagesan, Professor and Head, Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda University, Faculty of General and Adapted Physical Education and Yoga. Today in the module Evaluation of Skills of Football Players, we are going to see how we are going to test the skills of football players. Football is having lot of skills like kicking, dribbling, shooting, passing and various tactics also there. Today one by one we are going to see the skill test. The learning objectives of today's modules are to measure the general playing ability, to evaluate dribbling ability, to evaluate kicking ability, to evaluate passing ability, to evaluate ball controlling ability and to evaluate shooting ability. Soccer skill test. The first soccer skill test we are going to see McDonald soccer test. The equipments required for the McDonald soccer test are a wall 30 feet wide and 11.5 feet high, 3 soccer balls and 1 stopwatch. You can see in the figure a 30 feet length wall is there and 11.5 feet high, and the restraining line is 9 feet away from the wall. The procedure of the test, how we have to conduct the test. A soccer ball is placed on a line marked 9 feet from the wall. Another 2 soccer balls are kept 9 feet behind the line in the center of the testing area. Once the tester is ready and the player is ready, the tester gives the signal go. On the signal go, the player kicks the ball against the wall as many times as possible in 30 seconds. In the event of a wild kick, suppose the kick is kicked out of target, the player may either retrieve the original ball or use any one of the spare balls. All kicks must be performed from the ground behind the restraining line. The test will be conducted for 4 trials. How to score? The number of kicks in each 30-second period is recorded, and out of 4 trials the highest total number is being the score. Now Johnson soccer skill test. The equipments required to conduct this test are a wall of 24 feet wide and 8 feet high, 3 soccer balls and a stopwatch. This is similar to McDonald soccer skill test. You can see in the diagram 24 feet length of the wall and 8 feet high in the wall, and the restraining line is drawn 15 feet from the wall. The procedure of the test. In starting the test, the subject holds a soccer ball behind the restraining line and put it into play by kicking it against the wall or board. The ball can be kicked on by the fly or dropped to the ground and kicked. A test time is 30 seconds. Totally 3 trials are given. A hit is counted when a ball is played legally from behind the restricting line and strike the target area and rebounds across the restraining line. Faults are counted for any infringements over the restraining line by the subject or illegally playing of the ball according to the soccer rules. No penalty is counted for the use of spare balls. A tester assistant is employed to retrieve any ball abandoned by the subject. The scoring. The number of kicks in each 30-second period is recorded, and out of 3 trials, whichever is the highest total number will be taken as the score. Warner soccer skill test. Kicking for distance right foot, and there is another test, kicking for distance left foot. The test was used to measure kicking ability for distance with a degree of accuracy using right foot. The player runs to kick a stationary ball from a 25 yards wide line. The distance the ball advanced in the air was measured. It was measured at first bounce. The student was given 3 trials and the best one was counted to the nearest yard. It may be converted to meters. This is the area where Warner soccer skill test kicking for distance is measured. So, you can see a test area 25 yards wide and the marking is given 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and you can see where the ball has to be kept. The same test by the left foot, kicking for distance left foot. The test was used to measure kicking ability for distance with a degree of accuracy using left foot. The player runs to kick a stationary ball that is placed on 25 yards wide line. The distance the ball advanced in the air was measured. It was measured at first bounce. The student was given 3 trials and the best one was counted to the nearest yard. Here in all the tests I have given the measurement as yard. It may be changed as meters for the convenience sake. Warner skill test, dribbling for time. We are having another test to evaluate the dribbling ability of the football player. You can see the diagram. There is a restraining line. There are 5 cones or 5 marked objects are kept 5 yards apart. A 25 yards course on which 5 objects as obstacles are set as shown in the figure, and the player with the ball is standing behind the starting line and the timer is standing closer to him. On the signal ready go, the student dribble the ball in and out among the objects, that is right or left, around the one end and come back in the same manner dribbling around the objects and crosses the starting line. He is timed thrice for the course of trip and the best of 3 trials is recorded as the score of the test. Another test, Van Rossum and Vidya-mitra soccer skill test. Ball control with the body. How the ball is controlled with the body except by the hand. See, the skill area or the testing area is a 9 meter square. Within the 9 meter square, the player has to keep the ball in the air without using the arms or hands. The objective is to keep the ball in the air using his head, foot or thigh. The score is recorded in number of hits of the ball before it fell to the floor. Counting will be stopped when the ball hit the floor. The participant moves out of the square or if he touches the ball with the arms or hands. 1 trial will be administered, although the participant could start the trial again if he failed to contact the ball 3 times in the initial attempt. That means the player is allowed to have 3 consecutive hits and to start the test. Ball control with the head. Similar to ball control with the body, the player is allowed only to use the head to keep the ball up in the air. The same testing area 9 meter square. Within a 9 meter square, the player has to keep the ball in the air using only the head. He cannot use either foot or thigh or hand. The score recorded will be the number of hits of the ball before it fell to the floor. Counting will be stopped when the ball hit the floor. The participant moved out of the square or if he touches the ball with any part of the body except the head. 1 trial will be administered, although the participant will be allowed to start the trial again if he failed to contact the ball 3 times in the initial attempt. That means the player or the tester can minimum 3 times he can hit the ball continuously. Van Rossum and Vidya-mitra soccer skill test. dribbling with a pass, which will measure speed and accuracy. You can see the testing area. There are 4 cones kept in a square 9 meters length and 9 meters square, and the cones are kept 2.25 meters apart, and there is a goal kept on the another side of the starting line. The description: 4 cones will be placed in a line 2.25 meters apart within the 9 meters square, and a fifth mark, a flat surface such as a bench 1.2 meter wide, will be placed on the end line. The participant will be instructed to dribble the ball around the first 4 marks in a slalom fashion, that is a zigzag. Make a pass to the fifth mark and receive or control the ball and dribble around the 4 marks back to the starting line. The objective is to complete the drill in the fastest time possible without knocking down the cones and without stepping out of the square, controlling the ball only with the feet. If a cone was knocked over, the participant has to place it upright and continue the test. Cone is knocked down, he cannot continue the test. Only after replacing the cone he can continue the test. That means the time will be going. 2 stopwatches will be activated by the timers at the starting signal and will be stopped when the participant cross the starting line. The average of the 2 trials will be used in the analysis as a score. Van Rossum and Vidya-mitra soccer skill test, dribbling for speed. You can see a diagram which shows the testing area where the tester will conduct the test for the players. A cone will be placed on each corner of the 9 by 9 meters square, that is 4 cones. A fifth cone will be placed midway, that is 4.5 meters inside the square, on the line of the square where the test begins. Thus, the near end had 3 cones, one on each corner and the third midway, and the far end had 2 cones, one at each corner. Beginning at one corner, the athlete has to conduct the ball with the feet, dribble around the 3 cones, corner directly opposite the starting cone, the cone placed midway and the cone diagonally opposite the starting cone in a slalom fashion, and then dribble the ball into the fifth cone, that is not with a pass. The objective was to complete the drill in the fastest time possible by controlling the ball only with the feet without knocking down the cones. If a cone was knocked over, the participant has to place it upright and continue the test. The overall slalom distance will be thus about 40 meters. 2 stopwatches will be activated by the timers at the starting signal and were stopped when the ball was dribbled into the fifth cone. The average of the 2 values will be used in the analysis as the score. You can see the starting line, how the player starts from the line and goes to the opposite cone, go around, come to the center cone, go around another left corner, come back to the left down corner and go to the finishing line. This makes a 40 meter distance. Van Rossum and Vidya-mitra soccer skill test, passing. Here you can see the same square 9 by 9 meters square and 5 objects are kept 2.5 meters away from the starting line. The procedure: 5 targets will be placed 2.5 meter apart at the end line of the 9 into 9 meters square. The player will be standing outside of the square at the opposite line of the target. 2 attempts each target will be allowed for a total of 10 attempts. That means 2 attempts at each target, that is 5 targets, 5 into 2, 10 attempts. The objective was to hit the targets with the kicked ball in succession from 1 to 5. 2 attempts will be permitted for each target. The score will be the number of successful target hits. The maximum score possible was 10 points. Van Rossum and Vidya-mitra soccer skill test. Shooting, the same 9 into 9 meters square, and a goal post is kept at the farther corner of the starting line. A 2 by 3 meter goal will be set up at the end line of 9 into 9 meters square. The target will be divided by ropes into 6 sections. You can see in the diagram there are 6 target zones. One rope will be placed horizontally between the post at a height of 1.5 meter. The 2 ropes will be dropped from the crossbar 0.5 meter from each post. 5 points will be allocated for the upper right and upper left sections, and 2 points for the upper middle sections, and 3 points will be allocated for the lower right and lower section, and 1 point for the lower middle sections. That is there are 6 targets are there. The top corner sections, if the ball is hit, 5 points will be allocated, and 2 points for the middle section, upper middle section. 3 points will be allocated for the lower corner of the right and left, and 1 point for the lower middle target. While standing outside of the square at the opposite line of the goal, the player will be given 5 attempts at kicking the ball into the goal. The maximum score possible was 25 points. Van Rossum, Vidya-mitra soccer skill test. Now the scoring, in the previous diagram there was no scoring. Now you can see 5 points for the right corner and left corner top, and 3 for the lower corner, and 2 in the middle target for the upper, and 1 at the lower middle. Next skill test, Mark Christian general soccer skill test. Dribbling. Equipments needed for the dribbling test of Mark Christian general soccer skill test are soccer balls, measuring tape, 17 cones, stopwatch, and scorecards. Now you can see the diagram. There is a circle which is having 20 yard diameter, and there is the cones are kept, that is 12 cones are kept around, which are 5 yards away from each cone. Preparation for the Mark Christian soccer test. Testing stations for dribbling test is prepared as shown in the figure. A round course with a 20 yard diameter is measured and marked. 12 18-inch cones are located around the circle at 5 yard intervals. A 3-foot starting line is marked perpendicular to the outside of the circle. Directions. On the signal go, the subject dribbles the ball which has been placed on the starting line. Around the course, the subject dribbles between the cones as quickly as possible and come back to the starting line. 3 trials are allowed. The first and second trial should be anti-clockwise, and the third trial can be in the direction of the subject's choice. The scoring. The final test score is the combined time of the 2 best trials. Mark Christian general soccer skill test. Passing. The equipments required for conducting the Mark Christian passing test are soccer balls, soccer goal, a measuring tape, 5 cones, stopwatch, score sheets, crossbar, and a 4-foot rope. You can see the description of the diagram of testing area. There are 2 cones kept as a goal 4 feet apart, and 3 cones are kept, 2 are at 45 degree and 1 is kept opposite to the goal post 15 yards distance. Preparation. Testing station for the passing test is prepared as shown in the figure. A goal 1 yard wide and 18 inches high is prepared by placing 2 cones 1 yard apart with a 4-foot rope used as a crossbar. 2 cones are placed at 45 degree angle from the goal line, and 1 cone is placed at a 90 degree angle from the goal line, that is directly opposite. All 3 cones are located 15 yards from the goal. For the test I have mentioned all yards. The viewers or the students can convert it as a meters. Procedure of the test. From each of the 3 cones, subject execute 4 passes into the goal, totally 12 passes. Subjects may use their preferred foot either left or right when passing. 2 practice passes are allowed from each spot. Scoring. 1 point is awarded for each successful pass. Balls that hit the goal cones are also considered successful. The final score is the total of 12 pass trials. Mark Christian General Soccer Skill Test. Shooting. The equipments needed for conducting the shooting test are soccer balls, soccer goal, measuring tape, 2 hoops, 4 foot and 10 foot ropes, stopwatch and scoring sheet. Now you can see the diagram. There are hoops hanged in the corner of the goal post, that is 4 feet in diameter, one above and one at the bottom. Testing station for the shooting test is prepared as shown in the figure. 2 ropes are suspended from the goal crossbar 4 feet from each goal post, dividing the soccer goal into 2 scoring areas. That is, the 2 corner are the scoring areas, not in the middle, only 4 feet apart from each goal post, from the right and from the left. Each scoring area is further divided into 2 circular targets by 2 hoops 4 feet in diameter. A restraining line is marked 16 yards away and parallel to the goal, from where the player has to kick the ball and kick into the target. The procedure. 10 points are awarded for shots going through a proper target and 4 points are awarded for shots going through a wrong target. That means, if a ball is kicked into the right corner top hoops, if the ball goes into the hoops, 10 points will be awarded. While aiming at the right top corner hoops, and if the ball goes to the right lower hoop or the left top or left lower hoops, 4 points will be awarded. The subject shoots stationary balls toward the target. The ball may be placed anywhere behind the restraining line and the preferred foot may be used. 4 practice trials are allowed, followed by 4 consecutive attempts at each of the 4 target areas. Considering 4 consecutive targets, we are having total of 16 short trials. You can see in the diagram, suppose the right corner hoops means 4 times the player has to attempt only on the right top hoop. Then continuously he has to go to the left corner and the top hoops. Then left lower 4 trials and then the right lower 4 trials, making 16 trials. Scoring. 10 points are awarded for shots going through a proper target and 4 points are awarded for shots going through a wrong target. For example, if a student is shooting for the upper right target and he or she successfully makes it, 10 points are awarded. And if the shot goes through a bottom target, 4 points are awarded. Balls that hit a circular target are counted as good. Balls that bounce or roll through the target area are counted as unsuccessful. The trial score is a total of 16 trials. Software Soccer Skill Test. Volleying Test. Equipments required for volleying test are 1 soccer ball, stopwatch, wall space of 15 feet long and 10 feet or more feet high. Procedure. The player places the ball on the starting line. At the signal ready go, he kicks the ball against the wall so that it hits within the outlined target. When the ball rebounds, he recovers it and kicks it again. He continues this as rapidly as possible. The score is the number of times the ball strikes the wall within the target in 1 minute. The ball may be kicked, volleyed or played with any technique which is legal in a regulation soccer game. Now you are having a square and a 15 feet length and 10 feet high wall, that is the object. From 30 feet restraining line and within the square 30 feet square, the player has to kick the ball against the 15 by 10 feet wall and retrieves the ball and go on repeatedly bounce the ball. After the first kick, the ball may be played from the point of recovery or the ball may be dribbled to a more advantageous position. That is not necessary the player has to kick the ball where he meets the ball. He can keep the ball to a convenient position where he can kick and retrieve. If the ball bounces outside the 30 feet square, it will be stopped by one of the assistant and placed on the 30 foot square boundary line, where the player being tested may recover it and dribble or kick it again. Scoring. True trials are given for each player, each on a separate day. Not more than a week should elapse between trials. Here, not like other tests like McDonald or Johnson soccer test, the trials are not given on the same day. At least one day should be given between the two trials. The better of the two trials should count. 1 point is scored each time the ball strikes within the correct area. Balls hitting lines of the target are also considered as point. SOFL, soccer skill test, passing and receiving. Equipments required for conducting the passing and receiving test are: 1 soccer ball, wall space 55 feet in length and a stopwatch. Now you can see in the diagram, a wall is in length for a distance of 55 feet and 8 feet away from the wall a parallel line is also drawn. Procedure of the test. The ball is placed at the point where the restraining line crosses the boundary line with the wall on the player's left indicated by A in the diagram. It is not in the diagram. The player stands behind the 12 feet line as a starting line. On the signal go, the player dribbles the ball forward a few feet and then passes it with the side of the foot so that it strikes the wall and rebounds. He runs forward to meet it as it rebounds and repeats, waiting for the ball to cross the restraining line as a pass may not made from inside the area. You can see in the diagram, from the 12 feet restraining line, he kicks the ball on the wall. If the player is standing towards the wall area, left shoulder will be facing the wall. Once he kicks the ball bounces from the wall so that the player runs towards the ball, kick it again and the ball rebounds. He waits for the ball crossing the 8 feet boundary line. So once the ball crosses the 8 feet restraining line, he again kicks back on the wall for a rebound. However, if the ball has not been sent with enough force, it is permissible to go in to recover it and dribble it outside restraining line. Suppose the ball has not rebounded outside the 8 feet restraining line, the player has to go inside the restraining line and bring it back out of the restraining line and again kicks it against the wall. The distance must be covered in 10 seconds. The total 55 feet should be covered in 10 seconds, during which time 3 passes are to be made against the wall if possible. The score will be the number of successful passes and recoveries made. The third pass and recovery will not count unless the ball has been touched beyond the finishing line. That means when there is a third rebound, the ball has to be reached at the end line of the 55 feet. The third pass and recovery will not count unless the ball has been touched beyond the finish line. It may be dribbled up to the line before time is up. The ball must be touched at least twice between each recovery and the next pass. Scoring. The score shall be the sum of the number of successful passes and recoveries made in the fourth trials. A successful pass and recovery shall be one in which the ball is kicked against the wall from the outside restraining line and first touched again with the foot outside the restraining line after the rebound. Shuffle soccer skill test, judgment in passing. Equipments required for judgment in passing test are 3 soccer balls, 1 stopwatch, 1 bench 6 feet in length and a regulation soccer goal. You can see there are 2 goal posts, one on the left and one on the right. There is a bench 6 feet in length and there is a restraining line 6 yards and 12 yards. Procedure: place the ball on the 12-yard line outside the restraining line. On the signal ready go, the player will dribble the ball forward keeping to the right of the restraining line. He should not cross the restraining line. After having passed the 6-yard line, the ball should be kicked for goal from the most advantageous position. Any type of kick is permissible, but the ball must be kicked from outside the restraining line and must enter the goal between the left end of the bench and the left goal post. Each trial must be completed in 4 seconds from the word go until the ball is kicked. The trial will have to be repeated if any of the rules are violated, including exceeding the 4-second time limit. 5 trials are given from the right side and then 5 trials are given from the left side. Scoring: 1 point is given for each goal scored in a legal trial. 5 legal trials are given as described above and then the bench is set up on the other side of the goal and the entire test is repeated on that side. The score is the total for the 10 trials. Crew soccer skill test, ball control skill test. Procedure: the subject tosses the ball in the air and then proceeds to keep the ball clear off the ground by use of his head, feet, thighs or any other legal body parts. Each trial score is the number of times the subject legally contacts with the ball before it touches the ground. 3 trials are allowed. The score is the total of the 2 best trials. So, in this module we have seen how to evaluate the skills like dribbling, shooting, passing, kicking in football by administrating various tests like McDonald soccer test, Johnson soccer test, Marxistian soccer test and so other tests. There are many number of skill tests, that is standardized skill tests to evaluate the skills of football players. And also we are having number of tests to find out who is a best football player to be selected in a university team or a national team. So, thank you very much for listening to this module. Thank you.